Oh, hello.
Damn it. I thought I fixed it.
Crick.
That. Lovely. Yeah.
I haven't done my vocal warm-ups this morning.
Ow now, brown cow.
How now, brown cow?
Perfect.
Good morning. Blink, blink.
Yeah. Morning.
Morning. How are you?
It's interesting that the time changes have shifted us way closer to us both being morning. Like I'm at 11 a.m. and it used to be, I swear when we started this, I was doing it at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And somehow our time shifts have
So they have.
been gaslit. It's all a ploy.
How was your morning? So it's for what day is it? I'm confused.
What day is it? It's Thursday, December 8th at 11:04 a.m.
Thank you.
How are things for you?
Yeah, good. Good. I just had jobs I shouldn't have said yes to that I had to finish. Mm-hmm. Kind of old school jam, terrible time management, making parts at the last minute.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
That's why you have 2-week windows, so you can have, a week and a half to do nothing, and then
Exactly.
3 days to freak out.
Exactly what happened. Yeah. What's happening there?
Oh, we've been in kind of a crunch mode of we're going to install the first ATC pedestal tomorrow on a customer's machine, and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah,
to
right.
kind of like test / learn the process of like it's local enough that I can go there and try it out. So it's amazing when you go from prototype, which felt like it was basically done in regard to like the versions we've been making for ourselves, to trying to make it finished and all the weird little things that crop up of just, I don't know, everything you don't think that you've figured out and now haven't, and just, updating design to CAM to running on the machine. So had a good week of making with the mill, where the first time ever Ricky has jumped in and helped run cycles. So that was really great. He was stoked to help, and I was trying to get a bunch of other stuff done, and I showed him all the steps to like, here's how you take the pallet off, put new parts on, start it again, and that went great. And cool. It all of a sudden went from feeling like I'm the only one to run it to like, oh, we could run 100 more of those parts pretty quick.
Cool.
Big load off.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah, 3 months ago probably.
And good for Ricky too, right? Learning a new tool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think like you said, the control interface is very intimidating, coming from basically a very simple controller in WinCNC that's all on a Windows PC, where the amount of options you have are like 6 maybe of things you can do, really. You can type code in, but there are just so many buttons. I'm sure other controls have a lot more, but yeah, I've always been struck by how many buttons are on mills. Excuse me, I've got a fly situation. So you had some challenges with the Jim is off swatting flies.
Jim has grabbed a Nerf gun from the threadboard to stalk
his prey. It's like you turned into a cat real quick. Hold on.
Okay,
you had some challenges with the pencil sharpener, it seems.
Oh, yeah, we did. Oh, I'm waiting for a ball screw to arrive in the post today, so I can slide that back in. Yeah, we just had whatever the bit is called, the bearing nut. Mm-hmm. The bit that makes it go in the middle just seized up. When John noticed it was dropping, but he'd had a couple of weird crashes, seemingly on nothing. Then noticed ball bearings falling out of something. So we went digging and found, once I'd sort of stripped it and pulled it apart and pulled this ball screw. It's really short, like 250 mil ball screw out of the machine. Pulled it apart. It was missing like most of its bearings. They just come out somehow.
Why? Why did this happen?
I don't know.
Crashes?
No, it's on the y-axis, so it gets a lot of wiggle, a lot of use.
Oh.
And you look, they're pretty cheap. imported ball screws, so they're not fancy ones. I looked up the Japanese like NSK equivalent. It's like you can buy one on eBay for $15. Like the NSK one was about $700.
Oh,
so
boy.
we ordered something in between those two.
Yeah.
But it was good just to get my hands dirty. Like, I've always been a bit intimidated by ball screws. I've never played with them or had to maintain them or built a machine with them. So, like, they've been a bit of a dark art. So it was nice to just, like, be forced to strip the machine down and pull one out and fiddle with it. And hopefully fit a new one this weekend. But it has put us in a bit of a pickle with production because we had last 2 weeks of production coming up for the year and a lot of orders that rely on the old pencil sharpener.
Is there any backup solution anymore?
Yeah, look, we've still got the chuck on the multicam, so we can go back to one at a time if we have to. Yep. We're not desperate enough to set that up just yet, but it might come to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman under the name Odyssey CNC on Instagram, I'll link, who is making his own new type of machine that it's basically looks like a dedicated, imagine like a Shipoko maybe, but he's kind of like upgraded a better version with a seemingly decent spindle with a lathe. I'll send it to you. Or maybe you just consider it like a 4th axis machine. I don't know that. I don't think it would probably work for you. I was thinking as you were saying that, I was like, I wonder if this would be a good backup type machine or like a one-offs or something.
Yeah, like a axis.
Yeah.
Oh, like quite custom, narrow. Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a CNC little lathe, right? For making little swords.
That kind of thing instead of lots of swords. Yeah, they look pretty interesting. That's got to rattle your sensibility about the reliability of the machine a little bit, or like just not knowing what happened, or do you just go, we'll just replace that part every once in a while?
Yeah, the latter. It's just the ball screws are so cheap. Okay. Relatively speaking, I think we could probably just keep a backup set on hand.
I see.
Yeah, I think I called John, who built the machine, when we're trying to diagnose it. And as soon as I described what was happening, he was like, oh, yeah, ball screw, 100%. He said when he first got the first set shipped to him as he was building the machine, he said one of them arrived, was like dead on arrival, like it was already crap. He had to have that replaced.
Interesting.
So I think that's just, cheap hardware. So we could go down the route of replacing all the ball screws with, these $700 equivalents, but...
It's the bearing, though, right? That's more the problem? Or is the ball screw causing it to fail?
It's a full assembly. Like they seem to come as the screw with the nut on them. And John said, don't take the nut off the ball screw because it's, you lose ball bearings or it's
How do you get all those bearings back?
Yeah. So I think, we'll just have some backup plans in terms of having those in stock or knowing now how quickly we can get them.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried. I'm more interested in a second pencil sharpener at some stage, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
Having redundancy in a second machine would be lovely. But
that would be nice.
We had a few machine breakdowns this week. We had our oscillating knife stopped working. I think last week it was down when we were chatting. And we had a technician come on Friday and serviced both machines and fixed the knife. And then got back in Monday and John was cutting packaging in the morning, and the knife went down again a few hours later. And I'm not 100% that this is what happened, but it sounded like someone just didn't do up a grub screw when they were servicing the machines, and we lost this tiny little brass bushing that like rides and controls the direction of the oscillating knife. And John was on the phone to them for a while, and they couldn't get a part to us quickly. And this part was just missing in action. Like John was looking for it everywhere, couldn't find it. He ended up printing one, and that worked.
Whoa!
So just they sent him a photo of the part, and it's just a tiny little like custom washer that slotted up and had one critical dimension. So John printed one, got the machine back online himself, And then literally, like, I was out on the floor and I was chatting to him. I was like, oh, is it working? And we're looking at it and he was kind of describing how it had worked. And then we saw this little brass nut just fall out of the gantry onto the cardboard as it was machining. Like, John had been looking for this for all morning and it just appeared out of the machine. Just
Wow. That's wild. It's crazy that everything comes down to something like that, you know?
I know.
That the final detail is one stupid small screw.
Yeah, a 2-cent part or something. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, printer for the win. That was cool. I've been printing a bit this week.
Yeah.
It's been fun. Like,
So you made some drill guide too.
yeah. It's little temporary drill guides, like not with any internal bushing. I haven't sorted out a good solution for that. What sort of part do you use for the bushings?
Oh, it's a steel. They're designed for that. And then you can get different types that are either press fit or heat pressed fit. We need to adapt or change ours a little bit again, but it has worked pretty well. It's not like perfect, but it makes it kind of like a hand drill operation versus like some kind of insane drill press fixture that would have to be dialed in. And they don't have to be, we've kind of made it so with the dust boot part so that it doesn't need to be like absolutely perfectly accurate, because all it's doing is catching a nut that pulls.
Yeah.
So you just kind of get it mostly right. And then Ricky seems to have gotten it down, and a couple 3D printed parts, and it needs to be revised because I changed that area just slightly to make it a little bit stronger and never updated the drill fixture yet. So
Yeah, now that I've sort of got a workflow there, like the printer was always a bit of an unknown for me. Like, I didn't have the slicer software set up and I'd never run it myself. So it was always like, oh, hey, Josh, can you print something for me? So now that John and I are both set up with the slicer, I just love that workflow from Fusion of like doing some dodgy little solid model and going blip, 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 and it's on the printer within minutes. It's awesome. Very happy.
yeah, for sure. It is that it feels like cheating because like the cam portion, especially, and why I felt so interested in the Prusa coming from the lesser printer that we had so many problems with is I was like, all right, well, it's like cam where somebody's already proven it all for you. You know, like there's no testing. You don't have to deal with the post processor idea. It's just like they make their own slicer. And for the most part, that worked pretty well. We haven't made a ton of progress. We got in touch with somebody that Ricky seems more impressed by at Prusa to help with our issues. But I don't know. Don't know what the deal is still. It could be things we've changed in the profiles of how it prints. I've been able to print a couple PLA parts. It seems the PETG is really the thing causing the issue. The PLA parts seem to be fine. I am on the 3D printing note. Dylan of Protium and the Within Tolerance podcast immediately offered to try and print baby pants on his bamboo. And this thing is sweet. It is so good. Probably the best finish of it I've ever seen. And it was just like one of the default profiles of that machine with a smaller nozzle than what we're using. It was almost an hour faster for better quality.
Wow.
So very tempting if I was if I had the time to think about, which I probably should think about more seriously, to order one. I think they're currently out till like February, back ordered, but
Oh, really?
man, pretty ideal.
So is that PETG?
For no testing. This is the first one he printed and it just was fine.
That's awesome.
So very tempting. I appreciated him doing that so quick and sending it over. And
that's awesome.
Sweet machines, it seems. I don't know a ton about them. That Core XY tech, I don't know if you call it technology, but machine structure seems to be significantly faster movements. And it has some crazy first layer analysis capability through either LiDAR or its camera. So it prints the first layer and then can somehow adapt after that. It sounds like it would be like a $10,000 machine for those kind of things, but it's amazing what you get away with.
Wow. How much are they?
Some good coding. The $1,200 US, I think.
Yeah, right.
They have up to 16 color change capability if you go crazy with upgrades on one of the versions, which for us, we're like, this thing needs to print one color. Like, we'll use something else to, do other things. But just the amount we could, if we put a 0.6 nozzle on it, I don't even know. I bet we would probably drop another close to an hour. So we'd go from where we started was 10 or 12 hours per print to like 2.5, maybe.
That's nuts.
It's just like insane.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty tempting. I would rather have our 2 printers work that we own.
Yep. Fair point. Are they on pre-order at the moment? Those
Yeah.
bamboos?
He said he ordered his a bit ago, maybe a month or two, and it only took 2 weeks. But now I think there's just a lot more interest, and they're out till February right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Last I looked. Oh, one other weird note. The Bamboo X1C, which is I think the one that Dylan has, can print carbon fiber too, which is kind of cool. Which is an interesting, like, I don't know how well, but that's like what those Mark Forge do that are so expensive. So
But it can do the inlay strand into the plastic.
I guess. Yeah, I think so. I think that you just get filament that's that way.
Yep. Sweet.
Anyway.
Good to know.
What happened with Fusion lately?
No, it's you. What keeps happening to you in Fusion? Just
What did I post something?
no. It just occurred to me during the week of like, Justin has so many issues, all these weird post-processor things, and it occurred to me to ask, are you running some like special club beta version of
I don't. No.
Fusion?
No,
Or
I
is
mean,
this-
I do every once in a while. I have access to those, but I don't because of this kind of thing, right? That there's so many flipping problems already. It's been fine. I'll say since the last couple weeks now, I have not had any major snafus.
Snafu. Love it.
No, there you go. No major
Okay.
snafus.
Do I have a button for that? I need one.
Not yet. More durable. I don't know. I can't say. Since I've been a part of this like little group with the tester / advisory board for Fusion, I feel like I kind of continuously find ways to crash Fusion in a way that a couple developers I'll message with are just like, nobody has this issue but you. And I'm like, I'm not really like, it must be just how my brain works that I just break stuff accidentally all the time. But luckily, nothing lately. It seems to be okay. It's been working fairly smoothly.
That makes you a valuable resource on the beta testing team, I imagine. Like, Justin keeps falling into these special buckets.
I fall in the special buckets. I'm told by people that do software that they should be paying me basically to do this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I would love to be paid to break stuff. I'm already doing it.
It's kind of the dream job, right?
But
breaking stuff.
Donkey Kong or something. Break Fusion, smash.
Speaking of breaking things, breaking down the pencil sharpener the other day and pulling off all my horrible attempts at cardboard and hot glue, dust collection and guarding thoughts and experiments. Kind of strip the machine back to its bare original condition, and it's so nice. Like, I love the look of it when it's exposed and the blade's sitting right there and the cutters are all fully exposed. So like, I'm definitely going to put this thing in just an acrylic box, I think, with some internal lighting to kind of treat it like a mill. I was thinking about
maybe polycarbonate, considering the flying cutters.
Yeah, maybe polycarb, sure.
That are up to you.
No, it's a good point. I should definitely, go polycarb. No, I was just thinking about sort of chip management, and like if I do box it in, it's going to become much more like a mill, as in I think I'm going to have to build sort of like an angled thing and the trough at the bottom and some sort of like grate, so that, because often little parts that we want fall or go flying. They're not sort of collected, so I want them to sort of collect but be filtered out. I think I'll do the dust collection in the bottom, like so the chips are all evacuated through the dust collection. All the heavy stuff falls down. If you did it
some kind of angle and the suction was at an angle and then the parts could kind of roll.
Oh, yeah, nice idea.
Fall roll down into like a nails. But then you can't use your like nested bed of chips to drop into so nicely.
It's true. The bird's nest is pretty
useful. A new bed.
I'm sure I could put some
the thing I'm most excited for is the the part or the rod loader at some point to bring in new like pieces. They just like drop in from the top and
The bar feeder. Yeah. I think a little UR robot would be perfect.
But first, every time he grabs one, it has to do like a Ninja Turtle like spin around first.
Yes.
I love the turtles. My favorite is Shredder.
Oh, that'd be fun. What, you've had breakthroughs? What are your breakthroughs?
Can't remember.
Teach me.
Don't know if I've had any breakthroughs, but I had some clarity around the ideas of breakthroughs this week and the concept of uncomfortable conversations and sort of treating them as physical training. So, if you're trying to get stronger or working out and you do a workout and you don't feel anything, it's like, well, I'm not doing much. Like, this is not going to benefit me very much. And so applying that logic to uncomfortable conversations of like, if you're not sort of actively seeking them out and making yourself uncomfortable ideally in moderation, like training, like not doing it all the time, but like sort of going, right, I'm going to train this muscle of like having this awkward conversation or this difficult conversation. In theory, that trains the muscle to make you stronger, right? And so that was kind of my little breakthrough at the start of the week. Like, oh, I see. Maybe I can get better at this. Like, I've just got to actively train it.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about
makes
putting
a lot of sense.
Time slot in my default diary, which is kind of like prompts me to go and seek them out, like 30 minutes a day. I don't know quite how this would work, but like, all right, this is your allotted time slot for training. Now go and have those conversations now. It's making me nervous just thinking about it. But
yeah, man. It kind of relates in a couple thoughts. I think that's completely accurate in my experience. I think it relates to therapy, like personal therapy, and how to like process things that are hard or been difficult for you in life, as well as like, I think this can get deep, I think, but guys, men, stereotypically, at least for myself anyway, male presenting people don't process or communicate emotions very well. I'm that way, especially to other male presenting people. And I've found that one thing that's been really good for me challenge wise, because we've only had that type of person to my chagrin. I would like to have others in the business. I think it's really good to communicate that way to other people in like in a good, positive way. Like Ricky, right? It's like, I'm an example to get out of the weird language I'm trying to speak. Just saying like, hey, man, I think you did a really good job this week. I think, you've been doing well at these things and I appreciate, how you've been working. That's not really a thing that was modeled well for me growing up. I wasn't told those kind of things. So it's been really hard for me to get to that place, I think, of just communicating in that way. But it's also been really good because it makes for a better communication system. Like he's, then starts to communicate that way to me. Yeah. And it's just nice. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's like family necessarily. I don't think that's necessary in a business, but there's more truth and honesty, because then you can also say the other things like, I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me more freely? So I don't know. I think response, but I think it relates to what you're saying with like those kind of things. You have to train your brain to accept this as normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of lubricates everything beyond that point, making it easier. Yeah, as you say, to communicate about the harder things or the more difficult things as well. Something my coach has said a few times, which has stuck with me, is like, there's no difficult conversations or there's no awkward conversations. There's just conversation. And so like trying to retrain your brain not to associate certain types of conversations as hard, because then you preset sort of expectations around it. You just say it's just a conversation, and try and keep it, unemotional and rational, and just have the talk about whatever it is.
That's a little naive, you know. Like it's accurate, right? But who is like that? That's like that mythical CEO person we talk about sometimes. They've created themselves to be the money making machine that just makes decisions that's right for the business because they're, not attached. That's pretty hard. But I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's worth trying for. Sure.
Yeah.
I've got forks to make.
Oh.
I've got a probe stand still. I don't know. It's gone pretty well. We've got these nice little boxes. Since he's been through a couple rounds of product design cycles now, he's now kind of leading packaging design for us. Look at how sexy this looks.
Oh, hello.
So the risers.
Individually boxed within the box.
They're paper, but yeah.
Okay, right, yep.
Just
paper wrap.
Paper and then find a box that fits those pretty nice. So we can kind of... There's 6 in there. And then we just have those ready to package, hopefully, and like ship, theoretically. You can take less out, put more packaging in if there's all these variations, of course.
Yeah. And is that an off-the-shelf carton? You're not making those?
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Very cool.
We don't have a way to make anything that accurately. The drag knife never works that well. Yeah, pretty cool. Good. It's been really nice. His growth and those kind of things is great to like... he's always had some experience in packaging, but it was mostly like one-off stuff, like we need to ship this job. And now it's like, how do you make it repeatable? What's reliable? How do you make it unitized so that we don't have to have a unique box for each set of things? And it's really been doing well at that.
Yeah, we had our annual planning, year in review and planning meeting yesterday with the whole team. And packaging was one of the things we chatted about. It's fantastic cutting our own, but it does take quite a lot of machine time. So if we were in a spot where we didn't have enough machine capacity, that would be one of the first things that we'd have to look at outsourcing, I think. And we can definitely manage it better in terms of ensuring that cartons are done when the machine is quiet. And not in the heat of the moment of oh, John, I don't have a box for this set of shelves. Can you quickly switch the machine over and cut me another one? So we've got a lot of room for improvement there, but it is quite slow. I cut packaging when John was away recently, and I was out there and I cut a set of cartons for a big set of shelves. It was probably an hour and a half on the machine.
I forget how you're making those packaging designs. You have a software for it, right? Oh, really?
Yeah, we made it. We got a subscription to some software for a little while. It was about $150 a month, which was fine, and kind of educated us on how to do it and what tabs and stuff look like. And then we ended up building our own parametric models in Fusion that we use now.
Yeah, that knife system must be just a game changer because there's a lot of things I would like to be able to do, and we've designed laser cut packaging that's come out really well, but the drag knife is just not accurate enough for the way that we've been able to use it. It kind of just always tends to be a mess.
Yeah. It's hard. We could do so much more with it too. I've got ideas for you've got that beautiful little stack of nested parts. We could be much more clever with what we're doing in terms of how components go in boxes. We're still just making rectangles and putting parts in them. But you could, really go to town with little folded impact protection zones and have bits that hold parts snugly in, and be cool.
I think Ricky and I both like to do that, unfortunately. So he'll come up with, when we were doing the duck tower, he'd come up with some solution. And I go, oh, what if we just stand there and talk about that for way too long? But it really makes a big difference when you've got a product that you can hopefully keep shipping a lot of, and you've thought about it well at one point, and it's not something you have to keep worrying about, I guess, or products get damaged or something in that process.
Yeah.
It's nice.
When we launched Kiddo version 2 in July, we whipped up new carton sizes and we haven't fiddled with them since. They're not perfect. Could definitely be improved in terms of nesting and even just internal dimensions, but it's just that thing. It's oh, it's working. Products aren't getting damaged. Let's just, can you print me another set of those, please?
Yeah.
And we were talking about how do we, there's so many little things in the business that we want to improve like that. How do we culturally shift it so it's there's more time in the week, or it's okay to like stop and improve in the moment. Because it's just too easy to just keep rolling along and print the same thing again, machine the same part again.
Yeah.
How do we shift the? Yeah, it's tricky.
It's really hard to find that fine line, and it's super driven by, from my experience, each person's sensibility, because I've always pushed everybody to improve as you go, you know, when it makes sense. But that's also very subjective, right? Like in the heat of the moment, what are you doing? Why are you? Because I've had people, you know, past people that are like, feels like every day they're just improving instead of actually doing the work. And it's like, well, no, we got to go the other way with it. But then some people, you know, go one way or the other. So I think maybe if you have enough people, it just averages out to ideal, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I doubt that's true.
That's a tricky one. And I feel like it's intuitive for us to some extent as to where that line is, but it can definitely be harder to communicate that to a team member, depending on depending on where their baseline is.
What I think is really valuable, I think I just realized what it's worked really well, and some people have been very receptive to this, some people haven't, but I think, and I don't know the right phrase, some lean phrase, that when you're watching somebody work, right? I think if you can set that up as, I'm not micromanaging you, I'm trying to help us all improve this process. Like one thing I noticed, which we laughed about later, was Ricky had put up a knack wall in our garage area because we had one tested there, and then I had all this crap laying around. He's like, I'm just going to put this up, solve this problem. I was like, sweet. He put the paper roll for packaging there because we have stuff kind of there. But then I noticed he would go walk the entire shop length basically to get paper. And I was like, he should move that a little closer, you know, like, and instead of, it's a trust thing, I think, in the end, that he knows that I'm not bitching about him wasting time, that it's like, he just didn't realize it. And I would hope that he would do the same back to me, right? Like,
yeah,
why are you doing it this hard way? And there's a trust that you have to create there, that it's not micromanagement, that I think is the biggest change capability there, that sometimes you have to let people do. That was one of the hardest things about hiring people, was letting people do stuff the wrong way.
Yeah, I know.
Right. And unless it was going to be a really traumatic, you know, either an injury or something, but it's like, you can't always correct everything, or they'll never learn on their own. Right. Like, not that I do everything right, but
yeah.
That's micromanagement. If you just constantly, nope, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think I've thought about this a lot. It's like, you and I have made all the mistakes, right? And we're still making more, but like we've like, we've politely everything like at some point. And so like we've learned so much from that. And so, you do have to let other people make mistakes, but also we're in a position of knowing, like being able to preempt where issues will be with certain things. So like, you have to step in and guide people as well. Yeah, I've chatted about that with Aaron in the past, of like, how do we get a team dynamic where it's just okay at any point to like walk up to someone and say like, why are you doing it like that? Like in a friendly, helpful way, not you know, so people don't.
Maybe it's a code word.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to come up with. Like, there's a symbol, like you do a hand gesture, and it's like, I'm coming to you in. I come in peace.
Lean hand symbols. The one stupid code word I've always tried to make, and I think my wife and I had some jokes about this for a while, of like, you're being an asshole, you know, like I need something to say to break this, to basically try and make the other person laugh instead of continue the fight.
Yeah.
And the word that we stopped using this years ago, but tangerine was the word, because it's so stupid. It was just like, you just walk up to somebody and they're like working on the pencil sharpener, you're like, tangerine. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll listen to you. I know you're in peace.
I like it. Yeah. The way your face just changed then, as you said tangerine, I was thinking of like a sort of sleeper agent word. So you train all your staff to like react
You don't do hypnosis on day one?
What do you mean? I don't remember. What
I
are you
want
up
to know
to?
your code word by next week.
No, I already know yours now.